Yo, um, so I want to make this video for the people who may not know me. Um, I'm an author of, I'm an author first because I'm my grandson. My grandfather's name was Arthur, so that was a birthright for me to become one. And also my mother was an author. She had a book called Lost in the Woods, and that shit got lost in the woods. My mama raised me in the Moravian forest, and where I grew up, the neighborhoods were built like the neighborhoods in Germany. And it actually was the other way around. The neighborhoods in Germany were built like the neighborhoods on the north side of Winston, where my mama raised me. And I had the honor of my mother being raised under my mother when she was more developed in life, right? So my favorite book and my favorite word in the dictionary is consolidation. So my mama, it took her 51 years to consolidate her estate, and it was just starting to grow. Like, I remember when I was in second grade, my mama took me to this architect off of, I call it Solomon Way in the Trefo, but it's really Renota. But that's really Solomon Way because it go from the Yakin all the way to downtown Trefo. And once you get into the downtown area, it's gonna have an arrowhead cornerstone. But anyway, this my mama took me there and my mama had a shop off of off of Renota in Bethabra and on North Point. You feel me? I'm just I want y'all to just search Darrell Louise Jones Slade obituary and read about my mama. You feel me? Whenever you get a chance. Because that's who I do this for. That's who I've been doing this for. I made the vow the day that she died, when I had to see my mama breathless. And I didn't get to speak to her that day. She was already gone by the time I got there. So, I vowed to her that day that this is who I do it for. And that's the authentic stamp in the alarm clock. That's the authentic stamp in Book of Rhymes. That's the authenticity stamp in 1975, the year she gave birth to my brother, Armorville. The A stand for Armorville. You feel me? So my brother is an ill and I'm an ill. I'm Darrell after my mama, because she was the L, so she passed that down to me. She passed that L down to me, and she passed it down to my brother. So Darrell is the house. So when you say Darrell, it's saying the house of. I come from the house of Luis, and now I established the house of Quentin, which was reestablished through my father line. So that's why my name is Darrell Quentin. When I grew up in grade school, everybody knew me as Quentin, but the teacher would be reading Darrell, and they didn't understand. And it's some people that know Darrell that don't know Quentin. And there's some people that know Slade that don't know Darrell or Quentin. And so when I published the alarm clock, I didn't realize that this was what I was doing, but I put Darrell Q Slade. Because there's some people that know Q that didn't know Quentin either. They just knew Q. They just know Q. Well, I need you to go in there now. It's way past your bedtime. It's way past your bedtime. I'll be in there in a second. I'll be in there in a second. It's really hard being a single dad. I'm gonna be real with you because, like, it's like it's hard being a father in general because you have to take away from what you do, what you love the most, as like what your foundation, and give that same energy to the humans that you created the most. So the love and dedication and passion that I got for my writing career is the same love that I give to my children. You feel what I mean? Like that writing career, that's what the alarm clock is about. It's about whatever that function is for you. It may not be a writer. You may not be a writer, but you may be an actor from what they wrote. That's the ill and the bay. You feel me? The bays is the one, those are the actresses and the actors that's that's acting off of the script. You feel me? Um, Everybody has a role. You may be the cameraman, you know what I mean, or on the production team, but you still got a role. That's what the alarm clock talks about is building an organic team. And in order to build an organic team, you have to know your function. This is how we style No More Suits. From everybody from the editor to the photographer to now, like, it's you have to advance with technology and the future. So, like, the mic squad, the sound squad, everybody has a role and everybody has to understand the vision. And once you have that development team, that makes for the most organic books. And so I actually have a casting call for, one of my next projects. And those are the type of people that we're looking for that has the specialized knowledge in each of those categories. So we have some people who we're going to appoint, and we have some people who, we're going to have a casting call for. And, they just submit the portfolio, and you get to work with me. And I'm like, when you work with me, it's like Michael Jackson. When Michael Jackson went to work, he took his work serious, and like he was locked in. He was like a locked in artist. And that's kind of how I am. I will lock myself in a room like the escape rooms until we finish the project. That's just kind of like my mentality is like, yo, we gotta lock in, no phones, and we just create music through paper. Like we want when you open the book for it literally to play music in your ears. That's how we want the frequency to be. We want it to be that strong, that much of an impact. That's how I see literature, and like how much I respect literature. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? Like, I don't know the author of this, but I just like the book. I like the way the book look. I like that aesthetic. It's so dope. Yeah, it's so dope. That's the type of onion. That's what we're going for. So, you gotta really respect the craft. That's what I was talking to Sabir on one of his shows, and he was talking about the books and being an author, and how like you gotta have a whole, like he was saying how a lot of people was telling him he should be an author, which I wholeheartedly highly recommend that for Sabir. But like I was telling him is that you gotta have a team. He has to have a dedicated team behind him, like for real. Every author do. They gotta have that team, and that way it's like they have to know, like in your team, it has to be somebody that understands. Have to understand you and your mental health as a human. You know what I mean? Like, some people be talking shit, but it's be love language. It be a love language. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like, they'll call that shit narcissistic. When you and your partner talk shit, but at the same time, y'all may not know how to express your love for each other. And then you misinterpret what's said negatively and take it for value, and that's not what it is. And that's where time come into play, and that's where what they call romance. But what about womanance? And that's what it is. Like when I was in high school, I was what they would call romantic, but it's actually womanic. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that, like, I would want to stay, like, I was in my mama's kitchen setting up, like, putting the table right by the stove and, setting up the perfect date for a woman that, that was how I was. But then when I grew up and I saw that women wasn't into that, I fell back and I kind of became with a whore. But you feel me? But it's an art to that. Now growing and maturing now, and I'm learning that that's like a tool. You know what I mean? Like, so once you had that perfect woman, now you had to make time. Like, you have to make time for, like, hey, we read this the wrong way. You read this the wrong way. Let's get on a 24-hour train ride and discuss. We can discuss 24 hours there and back. And then when we go to the city, we can just practice silence by going to museums and just reading and taking our mind off of everything, and then we continue our conversation on the way back. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's the type of men that our women need. And if you're not on that, they are going to be turned off and they're going to be frustrated and they're not going to know what to resort to. So they're going to try to do everything they damn self. And they're going to try to take on the role of a man, and that's not what we need. We don't need that, and we don't need men taking on no role of no damn woman, because you can't. It's not possible. You cannot do that shit. It is just don't work that way. And I'm a big advocate for that. Speaking for realness, because I come from the house of the real. So from the house of the real, I got a son and a daughter. You know what I'm saying? And all there is on this planet is sons, daughters, mothers, and fathers. Okay? Every son not no father. Do you understand? And every daughter ain't no mama. But that's still the daughter and that's still the son. Do you get the point? So our Almighty brought us here to procreate. You feel me? They brought us here to procreate. So it's an art to procreation. You got to understand astrology. All right? So once you understand that, if you don't understand that, that's probably why a lot of people are not having kids, because both parties have to understand it. And really, you want for your woman to understand the astrological, or you want her to be an astrologist so that she can know how to read what's going on in the ethers based off of the placements of the cosmos during the different time periods. That's why we have different time stamps, because right now we're going to layer these books with when it was signed, and stamp, we're going to have where the moon was at, and Jupiter. And right now the moon is about to conjunct Jupiter. So I know that much, but only a woman can describe what that means. Oh, well, with the moon in Capricorn and then the Jupiter going into Cancer, that means that it's square. That's what the women that's what they gonna be able to, and then they gonna talk about the traits of what we're gonna be seeing from humanity on the planet based off of these placements. I can't do that, but my children's mama can, and she does a really good job at it. And I tell her all the time that she needs to be like an actual astrologist to help young ladies specifically to read the times. I feel like the astrological side is for the women, and then for the astronomy or the astronomy, like being able to coordinate, that's the job of the man. So men and women should be having those conversations. If you argue, start having cosmic conversations. And if she doesn't understand, then send her to somebody that do. Right? And also, I'm going to say this. For the single, when I say single dads, I mean they could be with a woman but still be a single dad. Do you understand that? Because they don't got their mom, they don't have their dad, you know what I'm saying, to help. They don't have no sisters that's helping them. It's just them raising the baby. So for them, those young men, especially the ones that lost their mothers, needs to be surrounded by multiple families. Because what you're going to see is that that adversity was preparing him to be the leader of the families and the leader of a clan and the leader of the clans. And they're going to listen to him first because he's been through the worst pain. And so now, if he can prevent that from happening to the other children in the village, then his best interest is going to be the mother. So therefore, he's going to have a genuine approach towards women. And he's going to be advocating for that from the men, to treat these women as if they were your mother. Right? You're not perfect. You're going to argue with your mama now. That don't mean that you going to agree with everything that woman is saying. That don't mean that she's going to be on a pedestal and you're going to do everything on a deuce down. No. It's just going to be keeping that woman alive. That's the code. You feel me? There's no place on this planet for any man that would take a woman's life. Do you understand? There's no place on the planet for them. They're going to be the first ones to leave. You trying to get rid of the women on the planet? That means you trying to get rid of the planet. So therefore, you can't be on this planet. All right? So that's number one. And that's not to say that I'm telling you, you got to understand what the Cephas and Cassiopeia story is. Really, it was supposed to be Cephas that got kicked out of Ethiopia. But Cassiopeia was put on the island. That's why she isolated, and then she's sitting on the beach, showing off. And all women do it. They do the Cassiopeia. Every time a woman posts a beach pic, and she like got her legs, like you know how they sit. They got their legs propped up and their hand behind their back, and they holding their head back. That's Cassiopeia. They letting you know where they come from. They telling you right there. They telling you that they her daughters. That's Andromeda. That's St. Andrews. Okay? So, them the ones, that's what y'all call them little bad bitties. That's them, you know what I'm saying? That's literally what they are. They bad, and they know they bad. So they gonna act bad. So, because they mad at they dad. So this is what, okay, so your duty in the Article 3 of the Constitution, it has ambassadors, right? So, and diplomats. So therefore, that's your life work as a man, is to deal with them andronomers and turn her from Basat to Assad. You see what I'm saying? That's our set. That great mother. So you turn her from a little mad black cat, you know what I'm saying, to the Black Madonna. Jesus turned water into wine. And Quentin turned Medusa to Madonna. So that's Saint Quentin and the Virgin Mary, if you ain't know. Long ancient connection. So you gotta understand that. You have to understand that. And that's how the pair of man and woman should be. And right now, they're putting a lot of stuff. I don't even, I'm gonna be honest with you, they got an algorithm out that's like playing on the men that's going through isolation with their partner to play with their emotions. They'll put things like, talking things that you would want to hear. And I understand that that's a war strategy too, because it's making like, because the women not gonna see it from that angle. They gonna see it from their angle. So again, that's where the work of a diplomat, that's your diplomatic obligation, is to figure out how to create balance, which is ma'at. You have to make sure you have ma'at in the houses. It has to be a balance there. You have to find that balance, and that's done through treaties. But anyway, I'm the author of the alarm clock. I'm a father, so we put the F in front of author. So that made me I'm an author. My mother could have named me Arthur the Second easily. That's is what they did in the royal days. They named the grandson after the king. You see what I'm saying? So my mother could have very much well did that. But she gave me her name, and I hold it with prestige because she knew her name meant the house. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's gender neutral. You got women named Darrell. You got men like Darrell Rivas. You feel me? So it's a gender neutral. You feel me? It's the Darrell. It's the L. You feel me? So women are L's and men are L's. You know what I mean? Women can be Ali, and men can be Ali. By the way, we stamping the Ali. I mean, just go back and look on the page. We got the Ali stamps for the alarm clock. We taking our time with it, so therefore it's a little bit more valuable. It's actually a really good price. It's actually at a really good price right now. So you can go to Darrell Q Slade Practices and get those custom books. Like, to have a custom book signed by the author, stamped by the author, stamped by the son. I mean, come on now. That's crazy. That's amazing. So I'm really teaching my son the art. Ooh, my food ready. I forgot I was even cooking. So it's ready. That joint ready. It's been cooking the whole time. So, y'all go get the alarm clock this year. Because they're going to be printed in 2026. You want the 2026 copies in 2026 because it's going to have intrinsic value. So you could literally take those books and resell them if you want to. People be posting these books for like 70,000. You feel what I mean? But what I'm telling you is like you got a good deal. You feel me? So people be complaining about the price because we come from a lack society, but we taking it from the lack to the abundance. So we want you to see in the abundant field, right? And y'all hearing it here first. We gonna be selling our books at the market. We're gonna take our books to the market, the bigger than the farmers market. So y'all can meet us there. Y'all could beat us there, fair and square. But that's where we're gonna have our books at, standing on our square. Cause I'm my mama's son. I'm not my son. I'm my mama's son. I'm my mama's son. Damn. My mama's 26. So it's the 26. I'm gonna end it on 26/26, man. My birthday is in a few days. Today's the 22nd. My birthday is in 4 days, man. So, get my books for my birthday.